Hi, this is Michelle Gramoglia, the president and CEO here at Woodland Pond, and this is my weekly address for a Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, February 6th, 2024. I have a number of items today for the weekly address, and I think that I will start with, uh, let's see, let's start with the surveys that you all should have. You should have gotten a repeat request for a survey related to our repositioning on campus. This should have come to you via constant contact, or it might have come via a different type of email request from my assistant, Lindsay, last Thursday. This was a second request with an extended survey deadline related to the community building. And this survey could be completed by a resident, a loved one, or a staff member. Anyone can fill it out. There were maybe 10 or 12 questions on a front and a back, or 2 pages if you printed it. And it asks questions about different rooms here in the community building. We had met at the Residents Council meeting last week, and they had asked, due to what were somewhat low responses the first time we sent the survey out, for us to recirculate the survey. And we're really trying to get a lot of feedback on this first survey. And then as we go through the expansion consideration and the repositioning of the existing campus, which is the renovation, we're really going to want to get as much feedback as we possibly can. If you can't fill the survey out on your own, the Residents Council has offered to help. Just call concierge and we can have someone help you fill that survey out. There are also on the back page or the second page, the offer to allow participation for any interested person in our focus groups that are going to be eventually formulated. The ones that were specifically offered on this particular survey, there were a number of them there. They do ask for you to give your name if you're interested in participating in an eventual focus group. These are going to be your opportunities to participate and really have your voice heard and your ideas heard as we go through this investigation, this expansion and renovation process. So please don't miss these opportunities. Even if you don't have an answer for every single question, you have to use your voice. We're going to want resident, loved one feedback, staff feedback. So please do make sure that you fill those surveys out. They can either be mailed back to Lindsay or dropped off at concierge, and we will start to get those results circulated back to everyone very soon. The next thing I wanted to mention, Shannon in the marketing department has been given an opportunity. We are participating with SUNY New Paltz to host an event with their Distinguished Speaker Series on April 16th. And as part of that, we were able to secure a certain number of tickets to that event on April 16th. We are looking to compile a list of SUNY New Paltz alumnus or alumni. So if you are an alum of SUNY New Paltz, if you could please leave your name with concierge, that'd be very helpful. Again, if you graduated from SUNY New Paltz and you are either a resident or a staff member, if you could please leave your name with concierge. And you think that you might like to attend the Distinguished Speaker Series on April 16th, we will be in touch with you about that. Tomorrow, our library is hosting open house from 2 to 4 p.m. And I wanted to extend an invitation to everyone to make sure that you stop by in the library between 2 and 4. There's a nice write-up about what to expect on the front of your Woodland Life newsletter. And they're going to welcome everyone with open arms. They want to show off the new lighting and all of the things that our fabulous library has to offer. So please try to stop by there tomorrow between 2 and 4 p.m. The next is a reminder and a very important announcement from our sustainability committee. I don't know if you are all aware of this, but in the little room next to the hostess station, which we lovingly refer to as the cart room, there is a growing pile of paper, which is referred to as goose paper because it's good on the other side. So it is typically paper that was used generally for our menus, but lots of other things accumulate into that goose paper pile. Um, but anyone that comes on campus is welcome to steal as much of that paper as you want, but only if you're going to use it for good purposes. It can be used in your printers at home. And many people you'll see in meetings use it to use as scratch paper or use it for their printer paper. But it's paper that's been printed on one side and is perfectly good on the other side. So it's goose paper, but please help yourself to as much of that goose paper as you'd like. You don't need to buy any printer paper. If you're just printing something on one side, you can take that goose paper home, put it in your printer, and go ahead and use that. The Sustainability Committee thanks you. Okay, lots of announcements from the Mental Health and Wellness Committee. If you have not attended any of those meetings, please try and do so if you're interested in this topic at all. The next meeting is going to be this Friday at 10 a.m. In the conference room, I believe is where it is, or it might be in the art studio. Just check your calendar and Connected Living. But we've got lots of announcements of things that the committee has been working on and that we have coming up. You will have already heard and seen the announcements about caregiver space. The first caregiver space meeting for residents will happen at the end of this month on the last Monday of the month at 1:30 in the Interfaith Meditation Room. At this point, special notices have been placed in all of the cubbies of all of the residents that we are aware of that play a caregiver role here on campus. We do want to connect with you individually before the meeting to make sure that we have understood exactly what your plans are for your caregivee that day, to make sure that you feel comfortable that that person is going to either be cared for by a private duty caregiver that you might have engaged already, or that that person will attend the musical activity that we have scheduled with our certified music therapist. But we do want to connect with you to make sure that everything is secure for that day. We do need to make sure that everyone that plans on attending caregiver space is signed up and that's all set. So you should have received a memo in your cubby for that last Monday. Now for the Zoom session that's being offered for the loved ones that evening, which I believe is at 7 p.m. And I will include this in the Chanticleer this Friday. We do need you to sign up for that because we need to send you a Zoom link for that. And we will be looking for a volunteer facilitator for that session. So if you are a loved one that's interested in facilitating that caregiver space loved one session, again, if you had seen my video last week, those Zoom sessions in the evening will mirror the sessions that happen during the day for our resident caregivers. So it will be a facilitated discussion of primarily adult children or folks among that same demographic that are identifying themselves as still being in a caregiver role for, let's say, a parent that resides at Woodland Pond, but maybe you live away, but you're still providing support to your parent that lives at Woodland Pond and you would like to connect with your peers. Each of the caregiver space sessions will have a question or a specific topic each month that will be curated by the Mental Health and Wellness Committee. And then the conversation will be facilitated by someone that's identified. So we are looking for a volunteer to facilitate that discussion that evening, the Zoom discussion. If we don't find someone, we will find someone. But if you're interested, please let me know. Some other really great stuff that Mental Health and Wellness Committee has coming up that you can think about looking out for on your calendars. We will be having sessions coming up in the next couple of months on funeral planning. The folks from Hammerl Copeland will be coming and doing a session on that in March. So everything that you need to know about planning for your funeral and final arrangements. We are going to have a local attorney coming out and talking about everything that you need to know about making sure that your end-of-life legal matters related to healthcare proxy, power of attorney, those kinds of things are in order. We're going to have that session planned. We are working with our a nurse practitioner from Access Medical that provides services here on campus to come out and talk to everyone that's interested about the differences between what's called a full code status where you want all available measures, life-saving means to be employed for you, versus a do not resuscitate order, or where you opt for no life-saving means. The MOLST form, the use of the AED. So Heather will be doing that most likely. So look for all of those things to come onto your calendar very soon. Brought to you by the Mental Health and Wellness Task Committee. Used to be task force, now it's a committee. I'm also thrilled, absolutely thrilled to announce I'm a huge advocate for those that are in the recovery community, sobriety community. We have a new resident that is also very much committed to that community, and has asked us if we would be willing to support meetings towards that end happening, and we will be beginning that in March. There will begin to be on the calendar the Friends of Bill W meeting. And these are addiction meetings, addiction support and recovery meetings. There will be a description placed in the Chanticleer and in the newsletter about what these meetings are. For those that are familiar, this is a program that I understand began on cruise ships for those that needed to continue their recovery journey on cruise ships while others around them may be imbibing and so forth. So those meetings will be held here on monthly, starting in March. So you can look for the information on those meetings coming out in writing very soon. So always lots going on at Woodland Pond, and I'm thrilled that we're able to do these kinds of things. Let's see, the next thing I wanted to bring up this morning at Dining Committee. As you all know, we have been trying to do everything that we can to increase the flexibility of dinner service, increase the seating availability at dinner service, and continually enhance the options and alternatives for all of you at all of our meals. Lots of great things were discussed at Dining Committee this morning. If you are not attending committee meetings, if you're not reading the minutes of our committee meetings, I strongly encourage both. Either attend committee meetings that are of interest to you, or please try to read the minutes. Those are available for you in the library so that you know how much hard work is being done by the committees, and all of the great things that the committees are doing on your behalf. But specifically this morning, one of the last things that we were trying to just get finalized related to open seating and how to increase seating at dinner service was we had asked the Dining Committee to take a final vote on the issue of being able to open or close tables at dinner service. And they did, there was a motion made this morning at Dining Committee as follows. A motion was made by a member of the Dining Committee that effective immediately, residents will be unable to close a table with open seats as long as the table contains just residents. Residents will be able to close a table with open seats as long as the table contains non-residents, and as long as that notice has been made in advance along with the reservation. So what this means is that if you are seated in the dining room for dinner and your table contains just residents and there's a vacant seat, the Dining Committee voted unanimously this morning that that vacant seat cannot be restricted to another resident. If, however, you have made a reservation with non-residents, let's say it's your family or you've brought in folks from the outside, you certainly can close that table as long as you've notified the hostess or the reservation system in advance. And that was decided unanimously by the Dining Committee this morning. So the hostess and the dining room management staff will be enforcing this. So there will be no more turning people away at the table side. This was not decided by management. This was decided by the Dining Committee, and it was unanimous. This was clearly in an effort and in support of the fact that we are doing everything that we can to keep as many seats open in the dining room, and in a nod to ensure that we are able to seat as many people as we possibly can with flexible seating. So this does allow even that many more people to be able to walk in if they either forgot to make a reservation or their dining plans changed. So this will go into the Chanticleer just in writing so that folks can see that this has been decided definitively and it was unanimously decided by the dining committee. So just please be on the lookout for that in the Chanticleer to come. The last thing I just wanted to mention, and this did come up also at dining committee this morning, specifically related to a question came up from a new resident. She said, there are things that happen in the dining room that, I didn't know that I could swap out, olive oil, for my bread or, instead of butter, or I didn't know that I could swap out a small salad instead of a soup or vice versa. Although now I understand that that is actually written on the menu. Or something that came up from the Happy or Not machine, which is that I didn't know that we offered no sugar added ice cream. She asked, like, how would a new resident know all of these little nuances and all of these things were available in the kitchen? And Amy and I and Jared, kind of, and then all of the other residents that had been here for so long sort of sat back and said, there's so many little nuanced things here at Woodland Pond that it's really hard to grasp and understand how to convey all of those little tidbits of information in a meaningful way that actually is in a way that it will stick without totally inundating all of the residents all of the time. And I likened it to reading the resident handbook or likened it to the move-in process and all of the information that you get from the marketing department or from the admissions coordinator when you move in. There's such an enormity of information here at Woodland Pond. And when you first move in, or even the first year that you're here, there's just so much to it. If you think about the handbook, we just went through and revised the independent living handbook. And just that handbook alone is 72 pages. And that doesn't even cover all of the nuanced information. That's just sort of hitting all of the topics at a high level. It doesn't encompass the handbook details for assisted living, garden view, or skilled nursing. It doesn't cover any of the topics related to outpatient physical therapy program or the physician practice that we have. It's just, and you just really kind of sit back and think about the universe of information. And we're really always trying to contend with how do we really convey the great deal of information. So we didn't have an immediate answer. I think really the best advice that I can give is if something comes into your head and you think, does this exist at Woodland Pond? Or do we think we have this item? Or has this topic ever been addressed or discussed? Really the best thing to do is ask someone and we will do our best to answer the question. The other thing to really do is to try to find the sources of information. A lot of it is contained in the library. Really looking on the resident portal on the website contains a lot of information, and we're going to be working really closely, Lindsay and I, to make sure that it's kept current to a greater degree than it had been before. And I know we've been saying that we're going to do this better, but really making sure that connected living and the power of connected living, the power of the resident portal, the information in the library is really kept up to date and cohesive. But there is a lot of information. So I think just asking the questions is really the best way. And we'll just commit to making sure that that's really the best way we can convey all of the information that we have here for you. So I hope you have a great day. You all know where to find me, and I will see you soon. Thank you.